Leslie Sansone Williams here. How you doing? One of the things that's important as an entry-level paralegal is that you are aware of potential mistakes that you could make. And that's one of the reasons for this group here. It's not the only reason, but it's a place for you to ask questions as well, so feel free to do that. But today we're going to talk about one of the most serious, I would say there's a top 10 or 20 of the most serious mistakes, and eventually we'll cover all of them. But today it's about violating confidentiality. And what in the world is that? Well, when a client comes into the office, as you would expect if you were going to visit with an attorney, you wouldn't want your personal business just strewn all over the county. And even if it's New York City or LA, people know each other. And so you don't want to go home and talk about the most intimate details of the client's case. You want to just leave that all at the office and go home and just say, you know, it was wild, it was crazy, it was just off the charts, but you don't want to go into detail with your family or friends, because it's like the telephone game, and that information goes outside of those four walls. It always does, and it will come back to haunt you. So use this as a red flag for yourself. Even in the office, if you work in a law firm, and I take this to that degree, other paralegals may not agree with me. If you're not working on a particular case, and another paralegal comes to you and starts yammering and gossiping about that client, that's not good. You know, that's not keeping the confidence. And while a client may be acting negatively to the paralegal, or it's just rough, you don't want to get into that, go down and take the low road. You want to take the high road. You don't want to listen to it, and if you're the one that a paralegal comes to you, you want to try to change the subject. Okay, I'm going to fix this camera just a little bit. Learn how to deftly change the subject. And you don't want to be that person providing all that detail to another staff member who doesn't work on the case with you. If it's something you're concerned about, you need to talk with your attorney. If it's something technically, then you could discuss that there's some kind of technical issue going on with drafting something or whatever. But when it comes down to that private information, taking the low road means I'm just gonna blab it all over, and I don't like that client, and so I'm just gonna tell their business all over. It will wreck your career. No one will want to hire you, and that word will get around as well. So remember that this is a mistake that paralegals, whether you're a beginner or a veteran paralegals make this mistake. And I took the high road in my career in not talking about sensitive, intimate, personal information, which is the client's case. So it's not a good thing to do. Hi, Audrey, good to see you. Your reputation will be built on you taking the high road at every turn. And the peer pressure we will feel when people in a law firm are gossipers, or they're just negative and they want to make fun of the client or other people in the firm, that's just not going to cut it for your career. It won't serve you well. And yes, gossiping can feel good, and it can just feel like you're venting and, oh, it feels great, especially if you've got compadres and the other coworkers are doing it. I've had that done against me in a law firm, and I was brand new to the law firm. So it's not pretty, it's not mature, it's not wise, for sure. It will take your career down, and the attorneys notice it, and they don't trust an employee who is going down that road and just blabbing client information all over the place, and that could get the attorney into trouble, if that gets back to the client. So really, really take the high road. And finally, if an attorney is doing that, you don't want to participate in it at all. Take that high road at every turn. Okay? This is one of the most serious mistakes when we don't take it seriously. It would be as if you went to a psychiatrist yourself, or a psychologist, and that psychologist met with their co-workers or fellow psychiatrists at a conference, and just blabbed your most intimate details all over the conference. You would feel so violated. So you don't want to be that. And that's what what's one of the things they worry about the most. I remember I was working in Tulsa, Oklahoma for an attorney, a personal injury attorney, and I was riding up the elevator. My attorney was still at the courthouse, but I was riding up the elevator with the opposing attorney, and he was with his paralegals, and he didn't know anything about me. He didn't know I was the paralegal for the attorney on the other side, representing the injured party. And he started blabbing and saying stuff, and I made sure that I advised him that I was the paralegal for the attorney. That I started to worry about that while I was riding the elevator, and his ego was off the charts. And I said, I just want you to know that I work for so-and-so. And he looked at me a bit like I was insane. Hey, Kathleen. But I felt that it was my responsibility to let him know that he was out of line. And I didn't say that he was out of line, but I just said, I work for so-and-so attorney. And he was like, I don't care who you work for, as if it didn't matter. But what he was saying did matter. And he was out of line. And he got quiet after that. And I told my attorney what happened, just so everything was above board, that he was saying that, and he laughed at that, But I felt that was my duty to do that. Hey, Marcia, good to see you here. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. It's being honest with your attorney when you make a mistake, whether it's with some filing you did, or it's just a horrible mistake you've made and the blood is draining from your head. Being honest is like right at the top. And so you want to get in a habit of confessing. We all make mistakes. Attorneys will tell you they've made mistakes, but you want to get in the habit of saying, I messed up with this, I believe. And I've done that and confessed, and it turned out I didn't mess up. And the attorney always wants to know, well, what's the solution? So if you don't have a solution because you are brand new and this is your first go around in a legal workplace, then the attorney or somebody else, another paralegal, will, they'll jump on board. Honesty is the best policy. When you hit that wall and you've done something you shouldn't, you rushed ahead and you should have asked a question. That's why in my Paralegal Inner Circle class, I tell my students, ask questions. When you're in an interview, you must ask questions, because if you don't, you are saying to the attorney that basically this is what their takeaway is. Well, this person will probably not ask questions when they're stuck. They want you to ask questions in an interview. It's telling them that you will not hesitate to ask questions when you are stuck. And that's how the attorney reads it. So the more questions, and I don't mean like 50 questions, but if you have 5 questions in an interview, and I don't mean what are the benefits that you offer. It's not that. Okay, think of what you should ask an attorney. And I go over that with my students in that module for that reason. Because if you don't, they get worried. And they're worried that you will rush ahead and you will do things and make mistakes, and it goes back on them because they're they're responsible for what you do. Okay, so it's a serious business. It's not something you should be afraid of or shy away from. But the more you know before you go into the legal workplace, because honestly, they're not going to teach you. They don't run a school inside that workplace. They really don't. Even if they say it in the ad, they will not be doing that. Because when they say it in the ad, they're putting it on the staff to train you, and the staff has no time. So they're being told to put it in the ad by the attorney. I want you to be aware of that. The more you know before you go in, and the more videos of mine that you listen to and take notes with your trusty notebook, the more prepared you will feel and the more confident you will feel going into that first job. And writing down and researching on Google. I am amazed at the amount of people who ask questions. Nothing wrong with questions. I love them. But I also am amazed at how many people don't go to Google and research and ask those questions in the search engine. So you will use that as a paralegal. So get used to doing it now. Become and I don't mean just legal research. When you need technical help for Word, Microsoft Word or Excel or anything, a specific software, go to YouTube. Hey Tamara, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for coming on, guys. That's one of the biggest mistakes. In this group, I'll go over mistakes that you should avoid. So remember what I said about how you act. You can walk into a new workplace. You know how it is. You've been in this situation before, more than likely, where it is gossip central. You want to avoid that. You want to change the subject. You don't want to get into gossiping about your coworkers, about the attorney, about the clients. You don't want to violate confidentiality regarding the clients. In one law firm I worked in, nobody worked on my cases but me. In another law firm, we were all participating in the cases. It was a team effort. But we would talk about the cases, not about mocking our client. You know, even if they were egotistical and that was off the charts, which was true in some cases, then it's not a topic you want to stay on, because in reality, the client is paying your salary because they're paying the attorney who pays you. So be careful with that. That is going to be in the professional rules of conduct for paralegals and professional rules of conduct for attorneys as well. And it will really benefit you to Google that. What are the professional rules of conduct for a paralegal in the state of, put your state in there, and use Google for that, okay? So lots of good information in this video today for you to get off here and then immediately Google what I've said about what to look up, okay? And write down some of those standards that you have to abide by as a paralegal, and then adhere to them and take them very seriously. You're going to see people not adhere to them, not care about them, but don't you be that person, okay? As an entry-level paralegal, and then as a seasoned veteran paralegal 10 years from now, you know that you've done your best to stay true to those regulations. They put them there for a reason, and they take them seriously at the state level. Okay, so have a great day today. Thanks for hanging out with me. Any questions, post them in the group here. Would love to hear from you. You're struggling with something, just post, because it will help other people too when you share what you're struggling with or something that you don't understand. Post it right here. I'd love to hear your feedback. Have a great one, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.